This is a fascinating concept. It really is. Teams can either decide to pass, which most teams do, or select players that are entering the league at this point due to some outside circumstances. Maybe they graduated, they didn't enter the draft in the spring, whatever the case may be. Mike, give us a name that's out there, a guy that's going to get serious consideration from these teams who, by the way, if they use a pick in the supplemental draft, then they lose the pick in that respective round next year's draft.
It's one guy. It's Clemson offensive tackle Isaiah Battle, and he had his pro day yesterday. And this is a quiet time on the NFL calendar, but consider that 26 NFL teams were represented at his pro day. I spoke to one scout that was at the pro day, and the report that came back to me was that they feel like this is a player that has starter-like qualities, but he doesn't show it all the time. So there's some inconsistency there. There's also some off-field issues. So you sort of balance those two things. And one interesting thought here is that you consider the offensive tackle position in 3 teams that have had some injuries or retirements at that spot since the draft. This is now an opportunity for them to look at this player. The 49ers with Anthony Davis retiring. You have the Giants with Will Beatty, the left tackle, injury. And the Broncos with Ryan Clady, injury. Maybe they take a look.
Yeah, interesting. By the way, this draft happens at lightning speed. It's kind of like a fantasy draft. Each round lasts 10 minutes. And again, most teams will choose to pass with their first, second, third, whatever picks they decide. But there can be some gems found in the supplemental draft. And there have been. Bernie Kosar, I remember years ago, was selected by the Browns in the fantasy draft as he graduated early from Miami. From a front office perspective, what's your approach to the supplemental draft? What kind of work are you doing right now?
Well, in this one, I think Isaiah kind of surprised everybody a little bit because everybody kind of thought he was going back to school, and then he applied late. Well, that put a lot of GMs and all these teams, obviously, as you just talked about, Mike, into hurry-up mode because they had a lot of figuring out why is he coming out in the supplemental draft. He had some off-the-field issues, those kind of things. But then you're looking at this young man, you're saying he's 6'6", he's 320 pounds, he ran 5.22, he's got 35, almost 36-inch arms, and you watch him, he's played right tackle, left tackle. So you're grinding real quick to find information to gather as much as you can because it's tomorrow. It starts at 1 o'clock. It'll be done by 2:15, 2:20. Well, the draft will be done. But somebody's going to take this guy. He's too big of a talent. I think he goes 4th or 5th round. Somebody's going to take a guy here. Omar Gaither got drafted a few years back and turned out to have a nice career in the supplemental. And like Mike said, there's just not enough offensive tackles in this league. And that's why a guy like this is going to get a shot.
When there's a player, it's kind of a game of high-stakes poker. Who will take him when?
That's right.
Exactly.
So,
and know this, if you pass in the 3rd round and you're the bottom of the 3rd, then you're not going to get another shot till the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah.
So you may lose him. So that's what's going to make this one interesting more than the most recent supplemental drafts we've had.